Imagine a planet reminiscent of Tolkien's fantasy worlds. A world where some forests are home to stocky, robust creatures akin to dwarves, others to true giants, and tiny hobbits hide away on islands. That's exactly how Earth looked just 50,000 years ago. We are accustomed to thinking of ourselves as the sole human species, but this is an exceptional situation, one that arose quite recently. For most of history, our ancestors shared the planet with 5 or even 8 other human species. It was a brutal race where survival was the prize, and oblivion awaited the vanquished. But before we discover who exactly emerged victorious, consider why you're watching this video at all, sitting in warmth and safety. The answer lies in a single unsettling theory that I'll reveal at the end. It will make you want to check your own body for any signs of alien origin. But first, let's return to the battlefield. In this episode, we'll reconstruct the timeline of this great battle, find out why our formidable rivals disappeared, and explore the boldest theories. If the topic of the ancient world resonates with you, please support the Before Our Era channel by subscribing, liking, and commenting. This truly helps us create more content like this. How did it come to be that Homo sapiens, not the strongest nor the most cold-adapted species, ended up in proud solitude? By the laws of biology, the one who adapts fastest wins. Unless global catastrophes intervene, a species' success depends on its tools for survival. Our Cro-Magnon ancestors invaded territories already occupied by ancient species, holding trump cards that their competitors lacked. Their main weapon wasn't a stone axe, but social intelligence. Cro-Magnons formed large communities capable of coordinating the actions of hundreds of individuals. While their competitors lived in isolated family clans, our ancestors built complex networks of exchange and support. Moreover, sapiens brought with them technologies for long-range combat. The spear thrower, a simple lever-like device, allowed them to propel a projectile 100 meters or more. This meant they could kill giants like the mammoth without risking a tusk strike. And of course, we mustn't forget their first biological ally. It was during this era that humans forged a pact with the wolf, transforming a dangerous predator into a loyal dog. Armed with spear throwers and dogs, we believed we had become masters of the world. But our ancestors didn't know that in the shadows of the forests, an encounter awaited them with creatures whose physical might would make a modern bodybuilder look like a child. To survive, we had to confront true titans. Who exactly did our ancestors have to face? One of the most formidable rivals, and perhaps even an ancestor, was Homo heidelbergensis. For a long time, science underestimated this species, considering it merely a transitional link. But today, we know they were the true athletes of the Paleolithic era. Imagine creatures up to 175 centimeters tall, with powerful bones and skulls, whose thickness could withstand a serious club blow. Their faces featured massive brow ridges, but behind their low foreheads lay a brain almost comparable in size to ours. They dominated Africa and Eurasia for hundreds of thousands of years. It was this species that, by splitting, gave rise to 2 branches. The European branch became the Neanderthals, and the African branch became us. The last representatives of Homo heidelbergensis disappeared around 130,000 years ago, yielding to their more cunning descendants. The most epic confrontation unfolded in Europe. Here, amidst the Ice Age conditions, Neanderthals reigned supreme. These were not primitive savages. They were a species perfectly designed for the harsh climate. Stocky, with broad chests and incredible muscle mass. They sewed clothes, cared for their wounded elders, and possessed rudimentary medical knowledge. However, their groups were small. There's a theory that their downfall was their narrow specialization. When their usual prey disappeared, they couldn't adapt quickly, while omnivorous Cro-Magnons survived on anything edible. Demographics also played a role. Our ancestors simply outnumbered them. We know almost everything about Neanderthals. But while a war of attrition was raging in Europe, a civilization was hidden in the East that we didn't know about until 2010. We found only one pinky finger bone, but DNA analysis revealed something that overturned history textbooks. It was a ghost species, Denisovan man, a species known to us not by complete skeletons, but by tiny bone fragments and DNA. Their domain was a vast territory stretching from Altai to the tropics of Southeast Asia. Genetics paints a picture of dark-skinned, dark-haired people with very large teeth. The most surprising thing is that the Denisovans did not disappear without a trace. They actively interbred with both Neanderthals and our ancestors. Today, a piece of their genome lives in the blood of the inhabitants of Tibet, Australia, and Melanesia, granting them the unique ability to survive in high altitudes. Evolution sometimes takes bizarre forms. On the island of Java, Javanthropus, descendants of ancient Homo erectus with helmet-like skulls, were living out their last days. There is grim evidence that cannibalism flourished among them. Even more astonishing is the story of Flores Island. Here, evolution took the path of miniaturization. Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the Hobbit, was only about a meter tall. Imagine adults the size of a 5-year-old child hunting dwarf elephants. For a long time, it was believed that Homo sapiens encountered these halflings. But new dating indicates that the hobbits died out about 50,000 years ago. Hobbits and giants, that's impressive. But the next discovery made scientists weep. In a deep, dark cave, where even a child would struggle to squeeze through, they found something that was thought to be accessible only to us, Homo sapiens. Get ready. This changes our understanding of the soul. One of the most significant sensations was the discovery in the Rising Star Cave. A graveyard of creatures named Homo naledi was found here. Anatomically, they looked like a strange chimera. Hands for climbing trees, a primitive skull, but perfectly human-like feet. The dating caused a shock. These bones are only 200 to 300,000 years old. This means that while we were emerging as a species, creatures resembling Australopithecus were still roaming nearby. The fact that they deliberately, at risk to their lives, hid the bodies of the deceased in a deep cave hints at the presence of grief, empathy, and the beginnings of culture, even in such an archaic species. So why was there only one species left on Earth by the 30,000-year mark? We find punctured Neanderthal skulls and bones with traces of human teeth. Violence certainly occurred. Xenophobia is ingrained in our nature. However, most scientists lean towards a complex scenario. We were more efficient, reproduced faster, and brought diseases with us. We didn't necessarily kill everyone we met. We simply pushed them out of their living space. But we remember them, because Neanderthal DNA in each of us is proof that love between species happened no less often than war. We won the Ice Age, but let's conduct a crazy experiment. Let's rewind time 66 million years. What if humanity had emerged immediately after the asteroid impact that killed the dinosaurs? Could we have survived in a true hell? Imagine a planet plunged into nuclear winter, the sun hidden by ash. In such conditions, a human, if miraculously appearing there, would be trapped. No familiar forests, large animals are dead. The surviving mammals are no bigger than a rat. The only chance for salvation is the ocean coasts. But building a civilization on the ruins of the Cretaceous period would have been impossible. However, fast-forwarding time slightly to the heyday of what we'll call the giant predators, Andrewsarchus and Indricotherium. In this world, humans would have had a chance. We could have domesticated not a horse, but the three-toed Hipparion. But history doesn't deal in hypotheticals. And now, the theory promised at the beginning, the one that makes you uneasy. Consider your back, and recall how your eyes ache from the bright sun. What if these aren't evolutionary flaws, but rather evidence that Earth isn't our true home, but a prison? There's a fringe, yet highly intriguing hypothesis by Dr. Ellis Silver: the prison planet. The arguments are built upon our biological peculiarities. Humans are the only species that widely suffers from back pain. Earth's gravity seems too strong for our spines, as if we evolved in a world with weaker gravitational pull. The second point, our skin. We are catastrophically ill-suited to the light of our native star. Sunburns, the risk of cancer. No wild animal experiences these kinds of problems. Our eyes instinctively squint in bright light. And finally, childbirth. For humans, this process is incredibly complex and dangerous. Add to this our disrupted circadian rhythms. Our internal clock is set for a 25-hour day. Proponents of this theory consider this evidence that we were placed on Earth. Perhaps the feeling of perpetual anxiety and yearning for the stars isn't merely psychological, but rather the call of our true homeland. Were we created by aliens? Did we evolve from apes, or did we emerge victorious from a bloody battle of species? The outcome is the same. We were left alone. All other iterations of humanity vanished into oblivion, leaving us the planet for our sole and undisputed use. However, observing how we manage this inheritance, a question arises. Will we not repeat the fate of our vanished cousins? After all, evolution offers no guarantee of eternal dominance. If you enjoyed this dive into the distant past and alternative versions of our history, please support the channel with a like. This helps algorithms find other curious viewers like you. Let us know in the comments if you feel like an alien on Earth, or if you consider this theory to be pure fiction. See you in the next videos, okay?